Well, shorter-term US Treasury yields sliding as investors look ahead to a more dovish monetary policy in the medium term, with President Donald Trump's attempt to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook. Investors heading to gold as a traditional safe haven, along with the Japanese yen. But other Asian currencies now losing ground against the greenback as it recovers from its earlier weakness. Mr. Trump's latest move against Lisa Cook upping the ante in his assault on the central bank, as he seeks to wrest control over monetary policy by, in part, changing the composition of the policy-making body. And more, we're joined by Nick Harper live in Washington, D.C. Nick, what are the chances that Mr. Trump will succeed in actually firing Lisa Cook?
Well, so in theory, Donald Trump does not have the authority to fire anyone who serves on the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors. It is meant to be an independent entity. However, there is one slight wrinkle, and that is that the president has authority to fire someone if he believes there is cause to do so. Essentially, if someone has done something illegal. And Donald Trump is saying that Governor Cook has committed mortgage fraud in the fact that she put in two separate mortgage applications about 4 years ago before she joined the Fed, and there were competing statements in those that the president says means that she committed fraud. And because of that, he now says that there is reason enough, there is cause for her to be removed from the Federal Reserve. She has said that Donald Trump has no authority to fire her. She says she won't resign. She's described it as the president trying to bully her out. And her lawyer has said it is simply an illegal action. And that really what is the central question to all of this. Does the president have the legal authority to remove people from the Federal Reserve? It is something which is likely to end up in the courts, irrespective of whether Governor Cook is removed or not. Now, Donald Trump says that he has constitutional right to do so. And in a social media post, he quotes Article 2 of the Constitution. He also quotes the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. But critics are saying, really, this is all about politicization of the Federal Reserve. Elizabeth Warren, a senator from Massachusetts, she's a Democrat, says this is an authoritarian power grab by the president. And remember, a couple of months ago, the Supreme Court, the US's highest court, where this might end up eventually, did say that the Fed is uniquely structured, that it's a quasi-private entity, suggesting it is harder for the president to remove someone from the Fed, even though he feels he has the constitutional right to do so.
Oh, Nick, the concerns about, as you mentioned, the politicization of the Fed, the main reason, many suggest, is that the Fed, if these moves continue, would lose its independence in terms of monetary policy, setting monetary policy. Should Ms. Cook, Governor Cook, be removed, what's the likely impact on policy at the US Central Bank?
Well, really, this is all down to pressure from the president. He is unhappy that the Federal Reserve has not lowered interest rates. He points to other central banks around the world and says that they have reduced rates in recent months at a time that the US has not. However, the Fed has said that because of the uncertainty created by the president's tariff policies, because of increased inflation, which remains stubbornly high, it is not yet time to reduce rates. Now, the Fed is meeting in a few weeks' time towards the back end of September. The expectation is they will reduce rates, but they say that they're doing so not because of pressure from the president, but rather because of the numbers and how the data is currently looking. The short term, though, as you mentioned, there is certainly volatility at the moment across multiple sectors. We're waiting for Wall Street to open in just over an hour's time. The dollar did fall initially. It's managed to claw itself back a little bit. But longer term, it's really about whether or not the president manages to gain more control of the Fed. If the governor is removed, he would have the opportunity to nominate someone new, put his stamp on the Fed. And let's not forget that the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, his term ends in May next year. And that, of course, gives the president the opportunity to nominate someone new, someone he believes will be following the type of monetary policy the White House wants.
Oh, thanks. Nick Harper in Washington, D.C., looking at whether the Fed will lose its independence after 74 years.